Joe Biden has dropped out of the race. And honestly, I can't say I'm surprised at all. We knew. Hello, everybody. Hope the audio is good now. I just raised my media output, but Joe Biden has dropped out of the race. We knew it was coming. Dementia is no joke. You cannot make your own decisions when you have dementia. So, again, someone as frail as Biden at 81, 82 years of age should just relax and retire at peace and enjoy time with the family. But Biden has delivered for the American people far more than Donald Trump has in his entire 4 years. He's expanded Obamacare. Trump tried to gut health care for millions of people. Donald Trump gave a huge tax giveaway to the billionaires. Joe Biden expanded tax breaks, gave Americans some temporary tax relief during COVID. Biden expanded Obamacare. Trump did nothing for the climate. He tried to gut environmental regulations. Joe Biden passed the new Green Deal, the climate bill. So Biden delivered the bipartisan infrastructure bill that Donald Trump failed to pass, even though he had control of Congress during his first 2 years. It's time now for the Democrats to focus on everything they've done during the past couple of years. Now it's time to focus on all their legislative accomplishments instead of just worrying about trivial things like Joe Biden's health. Even if Biden were president, he would have someone else making the decisions. It didn't matter if Joe Biden had dementia. The money was frozen up. The donors were no longer willing to give money to Joe Biden's campaign. It wasn't just Joe Biden's family's decision. The DNC had no other choice. They need to ramp up fundraising efforts before the election. Now, it's not a big deal that the election is 3 months away because basically campaigns in European elections start 3 to 4 weeks before the election. And so it's not a big deal. And as we've seen from recent polling, the French far right won according to the polls, but the people went out and voted and they rejected the far right in France. So the voters are going to decide the election. The biased media is not going to decide the election. Many of these media CEOs, the New York Times CEO, they're all Donald Trump donors. The media's coverage of the election has been very biased in favor of Trump. The people will defeat the media. It's the media that wants Donald Trump to be president because of all the ratings that Donald Trump brings. But the media did not get Donald Trump in 2016 without the voters who decided to stay home in the key swing states. The fact of the matter is there's not one single issue that people are going to go out and vote for. They're going to vote for the state of the economy. The fact that it's been a better economy under Biden than under Donald Trump, or people are concerned about inflation. They're going to vote for if they feel that inflation is a key issue. For other people, the future of the planet is the biggest decision. The GOP's agenda against women's reproductive rights is going to be a very big agenda. The fact that people don't want to see autocratic rule in America is going to be a key issue. And the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter who the nominee of the Democratic Party is. The people will prevail because the entire country of America overwhelmingly opposes no action against the climate. It's not just here in the desert in Arizona. We are all experiencing record-breaking heat during the summer, yet the Republican Party wants to deny that climate change is happening. And even the far-right parties in Europe do not reject climate change. They believe in the science. So that's something that the Republican Party hasn't done yet. And let's face it, Gen Z women are not going to tolerate having their reproductive rights under attack. You see, I think the Democratic Party is they're imploding so much, but I think the Republican Party is imploding a lot too, because that Supreme Court decision in February of 2022 is going to hurt many of the women voters. The fact that J.D. Vance says that it's okay for a violent husband to stay in a relationship for the children is not going to sit well with women. It's not just men voting in elections. The fact is women make a huge chunk of voters. So issues concerning women are going to have a key role in this election. And Republicans even voted against Donald Trump in 2020 because many of these Republican voters, they voted Republican for the House and the Senate, but they didn't vote Republican in the election because this is a bipartisan issue. Keeping our democracy is a bipartisan issue. We don't want coups every single election. You're not going to see the Democratic Party storm the House. You're going to see that because Democrats to take a loss and go home and have a better platform for the next time around. And that's something that the radical Republican Party has not done under Trump. And it's not even a Republican Party. It is a Trumpist party. Trump has endorsed dictators across the world. Donald Trump is beholden to Russia. This is not conspiracy. This is basic fact. You can find the facts in the media from 2016 reporting on Donald Trump receiving Russian money. The fact is he is beholden to these donors. The donors to Donald Trump's businesses are in fact Russian oligarchs. And why is it that Donald Trump's vice presidential candidate does not want to send money to Ukraine? Because he is going to act in the interest of his boss. His boss is now Donald Trump. And I know that he has got money from Peter Thiel before. They know they need as much money as they can to try to help with their election efforts because this agenda is unsustainable. People are aware of Project 2025. It is highly unpopular toward the vast majority of the country. And the fact is, the Heritage Foundation that crafted Project 2025, Donald Trump knows many of these people. So Donald Trump may pretend to not know what Project 2025 is about. Donald Trump he fully endorses Project 2025 because many of these policies, as far as Project 2025 goes, in regards to fiscal tax policy in the environment, Donald Trump has already endorsed during his first term. Donald Trump stands to lose everything if he doesn't get the White House. Donald Trump is going to do everything he can to be dictator for life because the last thing he wants is to go to court over bankruptcy in his criminal cases. That was exactly why he stormed the House as the results of the last election was about to be certified. I have every right to be concerned about World War III because he made it no secret. He endorsed Vladimir Putin's invasion. The region is going to get worse if Donald Trump gets elected. Now, I think as far as what I've outlined for 2028, which is the fact that, wages are still low, they're not keeping up with inflation, and I still think wages need to be higher to kind of offset the results of printing money to try to spur economic activity. It's only as good as the amount of purchasing power that people have. So there's some inflationary concerns that I think could hurt Democrats for 2028. But I think the main kicker is going to be a Kamala Harris presidency. Now, if you were to ask me who I think is going to be the nominee, they're probably going to go with Kamala Harris because I think the thing that weakens Democrats a lot is the fact that they can't play offense like Republicans can. Republicans are just natural bullies. They have no shame. They'll lie about anything. All they care about is the rhetoric to manipulate and influence the would-be voters. I think Kamala Harris is someone who knows how to be a mean Republican playing hardball on the offense. I think that's what they need. Someone who's going to take it really hard on Donald Trump and his ties to Russia, the tax breaks, the inaction towards COVID during the pandemic, the fact that he wants to destroy the environment and get rid of whatever reproductive rights women have. I think we can see a very hard offensive for the Democrats with the Kamala Harris candidacy. I have enough faith to know that Republicans helped stop Donald Trump in 2020. Republican voters. No, I'm not making that up. Republican voters did, and so did the black vote. The Black Caucus and Hispanic caucuses endorsed Joe Biden the other day. They're going to go with whoever the Democratic nominee is. They don't like Donald Trump and his rhetoric. The migrants are poisoning the blood of America, says Hitler number 2. How is that rhetoric going to sit well with the Latino community? That's just one of many examples. It's not just the rant against Mexicans in 2016. It's the whole poisoning the blood rhetoric that Democrats can weaponize. J.D. Vance's comments towards women, towards Donald Trump being Hitler number 2. Hitler number 2, I just told you a second ago how he's Hitler number 2, poisoning the blood of the country. The Jews are poisoning the Aryan blood in Germany. We're seeing that same type of rhetoric all over again. Donald Trump is going to lose this election. The people will keep this democracy. As Ben Franklin said, you can still have a democracy as long as you're willing to keep it. And for America, it's about stop being asleep and being aware that Donald Trump is ready to go after every political opponent through the Department of Justice. Even people who criticize him who are not guilty of any crime, Donald Trump is going to attack. What's up, Fitz? What do you see? You're waiting for me? Oh, you just want to go inside. Okay. Well, anyway, I will cover the Joe Biden resignation tonight, but as of today, I got to go with Kamala Harris because a Kamala presidency would pave the way for Ivanka in 2028 because right before inauguration, I made my projection for 2028. You know, I have projected Ivanka to be president. And after the Republican Party loses the election because they're not acting on the climate or they're threatening women over their reproductive rights, then that's something that Ivanka certainly will include into the Republican platform. So that is what will decide the election. We'll have to see what the exit polls obviously tell us in 2028, but that is my prediction. Ivanka in 2028, and I think the pick has to be Kamala because I think she would be a bad president, but she certainly would not endorse authoritarianism around the world. So again, the grand American experiment continues. It's not a fast. It's not a very fast decline. It's not. It's very slow and gradual. It's very slow and gradual. You know, Rome didn't collapse in a decade. It took centuries to collapse. It took hundreds of years. So based on the history of the Byzantine Empire, for example, it lasted another, the Ottoman Empire collapsed in the 1900s. So that lasted over 1,000 years after Rome collapsed in 1400. So it could be 100, it could be 200, it could be 300 years until America collapses. We don't know when America is going to officially collapse. But the one thing that you should know in the media is that the Saudis are going to stop accepting oil in U.S. dollars. And when the demand for the dollar collapses, then we are certainly in huge trouble. They will accept trading in petrodollars, in the Chinese yuan. So regardless of who wins the election, that's the one thing you have to be aware about, because certainly the media will not cover that. You'll never ever see anything in mainstream media about Saudi Arabia stop accepting U.S. dollars exchange for their oil. So we have a big issue in our hands, and that's the one thing that we should be worried about is the weakening of the dollar just on a global scale in Saudi Arabia. So we'll see if that has a everlasting effect even within the next decade. So that's something to think about as I close this stream and I go back to watching the Yankees load the bases again and get out of the inning with 0 runs. So I'll leave it at there, and I'll break down the Biden dropping out of the race. And now, in Trump assassination, definitely the Secret Service, they purposely allowed it to happen. You know why? Because it's not just people that are concerned about losing our democracy. The government, too, is concerned about losing our democracy. So everybody saw the gunman on the roof. The Supreme Court absolutely knew, or not the Supreme Court, the Secret Service knew the shooter was on the roof. So they let it happen. They let the assassination happen. Don't forget, someone tried to set a bomb on Hitler in the room, but it failed. It didn't. I don't know where the bomb was or how it failed to kill Hitler, but if Adolf Hitler and other dictators had assassination attempts against him, don't think for a second that the government's thinking the same things that the people are. They're very nervous that Donald Trump is going to work in the best interest of autocratic rulers around the world. So my theory around the assassination is that the Secret Service let it happen because the government and the people are very scared that Donald Trump is going to end the Constitution and make himself dictator for life, as he wished he would be. He wished he was so jealous that Xi Jinping was dictator for life in China, and that's something that Donald Trump wants. And this is a very legit concern that a lot of people have. So again, regardless of who you want, even though I disagree against Donald Trump, you have to go out and vote. You have to go out and speak out. Choose between the two. You don't have to like the two candidates. Just have a preference, because a lot of people voting are not going to have a preference for either candidate. Crazy things. We don't know who the candidate is, but in my mind, I think it's already Kamala. So I think I should end with the question: should they allow an open convention a month from now? The DNC. I don't think they should let it come down to an open convention. I think it's bad optics, because if you can't get behind one leader right now, then you're not sure who your leader is. So I think that's very bad optics. I think they should name Kamala and name a running mate right now before the convention and get behind Biden's legislative agenda and get voters excited about what Donald Trump is about to do to them. I think this is the best case scenario, to get united behind Kamala and another and a running mate, and just unite the party during the DNC instead of being open and divided with division, because that's what the Republican Party wants. They want open division. They want confusion and chaos and have no idea of who their clear leader is. So I think the best thing for the DNC is to name a replacement before the DNC and name a running mate. It is very interesting to see what happens. Certainly if there's an open convention, then I think the media would like an open convention, because if there's an open convention, then the uncertainty is certainly going to cause a huge ratings boom. And there's going to be record-breaking ratings, and people watch the DNC wondering, who is the nominee? Who is the nominee? Who is the nominee? So I can't say I'll be surprised by any outcome, but I think it's bad optics to let it happen to an open convention. I don't know what other commentators think about this very valid question, but if you want unity, you have to get behind one candidate very quickly. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Modern Julius Caesar. Well, he did try to overthrow the Roman Republic, so I think based off of that idea, I think, but he's not a military leader. But I guess the comparison is valid, because Caesar did overthrow, well, he got assassinated. It was Augustus. I think that was the first emperor of Rome. But I agree with you on the general idea that maybe he is the modern day Caesar, and he's going to overthrow whatever is left of this republic. I am outright scared, and you should too. Because the anti-Hitler people weren't the popular ones. Hitler had the support of the majority. And I think if we learn anything from history. We don't want to let it repeat again. And I think what this election is about was that 2020 was not rigged because Donald Trump will lose again, and his ideas and the Heritage Foundation's ideas as a whole are very unpopular for the rest of the country. So it will be up to Ivanka Trump to be more liberal on the social issues because she is a liberal. And everything I've been saying as far as my theories and my trajectories towards 2028 is going to be tested in the next few months. So if I'm right about Donald Trump losing this election, the Dems are going to lose the White House in 4 years. They will just wait for Ivanka. If the Democrats have no idea who's going to replace Joe Biden, the Republican Party has no idea who's going to replace Donald Trump. And the only person that's going to be the only idea left will be the person who has a last name that's Trump, and that's Ivanka Trump. But yeah, stay safe, people. These are very interesting times. And we are experiencing climate change. We are experiencing record heat waves. In the desert, I can't go running at midnight because it's still 100 frickin' degrees outside. The Republican Party wants to deny that climate change is happening. We are all affected by inaction on climate change. At the bare minimum, we all should support research and development towards climate change. Obviously, it can't be implemented overnight. We completely understand that. But as far as research and development goes, we need to be the leader. As far as climate change goes, the number one scientific community in the world, the United States of America, and we don't want to be the leaders to stop climate change. America is number one. You see, that's a patriotic agenda we can all get behind. So stay safe, happy summer, enjoy your vacation, but most importantly, it doesn't matter who you support. Go out and vote. It's a democracy as long as you can keep it. You have to stay aware about the issues and what the government is doing, especially Project 2025. Read about Project 2025. I'll break down Project 2025. I'll show you the people that Donald Trump knows and supports. These are the same people that are behind Project 2025.